made up of mysterious peaks and ancient fjords. These isolated islands in the north of Norway were once called the Land of the Gods in Viking legend. Join us as we journey through Lofotr, nature's masterpiece of jagged mountains and a bountiful sea, once ruled by mighty sailors, basking under the midnight sun.
This is hard work.
I'm still enjoying the Scandinavian countryside, exploring the area close to the Arctic Circle. My friend Lars and I have just come from Kiruna, Sweden's northernmost town, and now heading for the border to Norway. There is nothing better than driving a Swedish car in the Scandinavian countryside.
It's a good car for this type of country. Sometimes it's rain, sometimes it's snow.
Well, we've got the all-wheel drive here.
Yes.
And what a beautiful view.
It's a Kebnekaise massive. It's the highest mountain in Sweden.
Oh, this one is the highest mountain in Sweden.
It was a comfortable drive with a trusty Volvo XC60 passing through the Lapland's rugged beauty. I could tell Lars enjoyed driving it too. The frozen, barren landscape soon gave way to emerald mountains and alpine lakes as we reached the Lofotr Islands. Lars and I couldn't help but stop to admire the remarkable scenery. Lofotr is made up of 5 major islands. Its mountains are more than 3 billion years old, older than most of Northern Europe. The last ice age carved the valleys, and water dug the fjords and straits that divided the landscape. It was truly an enchanting place that the Vikings called it the Land of the Gods. Lars and I set off to learn about the legends and lore that make up these mystical islands. Flocks of seagulls are a common sight in these coastal waters. But another kind of seabird that is often seen here are the ones cast in iron. In the town of Sund, we see flocks of cormorants immortalized by the blacksmith of Sund.
He started to make the cormorants in the beginning of the 60s, and so it was known, well known.
The area was known for the cormorant.
But you know, the cormorants, it's in Norway, and I guess it's a privilege to can be able to do this for a living.
In this region of Norway, these birds are considered sacred. People who die far out at sea are said to visit their homes in the form of cormorants. Tor-Vegard is continuing this tradition of metalwork passed on to him by his predecessor Hans Gersten, who presented King Olav V his own iron cormorant. Standing in the warm glow of the forge, we watch Tor-Vegard skillfully hammering away at the iron, fashioning it as he pleases.
Son, yes, this is the start,
Yeah.
the beginning. And then later I continue and make legs and tail.
What is the ideal temperature?
Yeah, around 1,000.
1,000.
It depends what you are going to do. But when you start the operation as a forging operation, then you need as high as possible. because it's easier to work with.
Making these sculptures using traditional forging methods, no two cormorants will come out alike.
It was a very long-necked cormorant, so I had to cheat a little bit, but maybe it's a new race. I had just to form the neck a little bit better. Then I will make it stand. And after that I will make a pair of wings.
The pounding echo of the blacksmith's hammer is reminiscent of a proud society who lived in these islands thousands of years ago. In the town of Borg, an imposing structure stands on top of a hill. It is a Viking chieftain's longhouse, reconstructed based on the remains of the largest Viking-era house ever found. Its discovery shed new light on Lofoten's history.
This was an area that was a power center in the Viking Age. So the building that we have reconstructed, it's a chieftain's residence for a chieftain with power over a great part of the Lofoten Islands.
Luxury items like jewelry, pieces of glass, gold amulets, and other unusual finds indicate that a rich and powerful man owned the house.
This was from about 700 AD, which is in the Iron Age, before the Viking Age. And it's a time when glass was very expensive, probably more expensive than gold.
Right.
The house was 274 feet long and had enough space to accommodate even livestock inside. To survive Norway's harsh winters, a warm hearth and animal furs and pelts made the house very cozy.
We think there were 4 main rooms, and the part that we are in, we call it the living quarters. And we believe this is the part of the original building, or corresponds to the part of the original building, where the servants and crafters of the chieftain would have both slept, cook food over fire, they would eat, and do various domestic crafts, which probably means primarily women's work. We think the crafts done by men were to a large degree done outside or in separate buildings.
Most people would think of Vikings only as the fierce warriors that they are. But they were actually also very good craftsmen. They wove colorful textiles and used animal hide for footwear. They also did a lot of skilled woodworking and carving. Food supply was also stored inside the house, and it gave us a glimpse of what the Vikings' diet was like.
So we see that the diet also contains a lot of fish,
Yes.
but these are bigger bones.
Well, these bones are goat bones.
Okay.
We are on a chieftain seat. Many regular people, they probably did not have a lot of meat in their diet. They would eat more fish.
Fish, yes.
But a wealthy chieftain, he would show it off by having a diet containing quite a lot more meat than normal.
Speaking of food, the house had a great banquet hall that can gather all 50 to 80 of its inhabitants for any kind of feast.
That would be any sort of celebration, to celebrate weddings, childbirths, visits from family, visits from other chieftains and political events, and even religious ceremony. The chieftain and his family might have used this room as their personal living room.
The longhouse survived for 4 centuries and was inhabited by a few generations of Viking chieftains. Historical records show that the last chieftain who lived here was the oddly named Olaf Venombruni, or Olaf Twin Brows. He was called a hamram, or someone who could shed his skin and turn into an animal. A Viking werewolf, perhaps? But around 900 AD, Olaf and his family left this place to go and conquer parts of Iceland. Olaf would have sailed on a ship like this one. This is a two-third replica of the Gokstad, the same Viking ship displayed at the museum in Oslo. Lofoten may seem isolated today, but during the Viking Age, it was the center of a maritime trade network. With their fast ships that can be used for warfare, trade, or transport, they dominated these waters.
So I travel around a lot,
Very interesting life, I think, during the time, huh?
but a hard life.
I can imagine.
It was very interesting to step back in time and learn more about Viking life. Though I wish Lars would play Cupid and shoot these girls with some arrows. Unfortunately, they were better warriors than me. Up next, I explore more of the fairy tale islands of Lofoten, discovering its rich fishing heritage that has shaped this place for thousands of years.